Hello everyone and welcome to the post-match analysis of the match between Barcelona and Villarreal, where Barcelona won 3-0 at the Spotify Camp Nou with a display of high intensity. Now the players were very eager and hungry to revindicate themselves after the bad week that they had last week, and that was evident on the field where the players played with a lot of intensity and they kept the pressure on Villarreal with their attacks, and they also kept high pressure upon the loss of the ball, which allowed the team to create a lot of chances, create danger, which culminated in Barcelona scoring 3 goals in a span of 7 minutes. And this is a very impressive feat given that Villarreal have only conceded 3 goals throughout the entire season, and Barcelona were able to match that in such a short window of time. Now, as expected, there were a lot of rotations in the team, and the team lined up with Sergi Roberto in the right back position, and with Jules Koundé and Marcos Alonso in the center back position, and Jordi Alba in the left back position. Now, Sergi Roberto had a good game. He didn't really have a great one, nor did he have a bad game. He had a good one where he did his job. He contributed to the attack, and he also was able to track back and help in the defense as well. Now, in regards to Jules Koundé, there's nothing much to say besides the fact that every time this guy plays, he shows us that he's a world-class defender and that he's one of the best signings that Barcelona have done in the recent years. Now, not only is Jules Koundé solid defensively, but he's really good in the attack as well. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's good at making runs forward and breaking through lines. And he's very good at associating with his teammates. And he even creates a lot of dangers with those dangerous crosses that he sends into the box. Now, another great quality that Jules Koundé has is that he has the speed and the pace to track back to his own box to defend. And it's a very important quality in Barcelona because when Barcelona attacks, the whole team pushes forward and leave a lot of space between them and their own goal. So it's good to have a defender like Jules Koundé who's able to run back to his goal to defend whenever the team loses the ball or whenever the team is caught in a counter attack. Now, Marcos Alonso in the center back position was an interesting choice for me, but this was most likely done to rest Eric Garcia, especially since Barcelona have 2 important matches ahead of them against Athletic Bilbao and Bayern Munich. And I must say that Marcos Alonso did a really good job in the center back position. However, he did seem slow sometimes when he tried to keep up with some Villarreal attackers. But even though this is not his ideal position, I think the Marcos Alonso in the center back position is a good option against weaker opponents whenever rotation is needed. Now, I was a little bit worried when I saw Jordi Alba start ahead of Alejandro Balde, and this was most likely also done to give Alejandro Balde some rest ahead of the 2 upcoming matches. And to my surprise, Jordi Alba did a really good job and he had a phenomenal match. Now, Jordi Alba had really good runs on the left flank and he created a lot of danger, and he even assisted Robert Lewandowski in Barcelona's first goal. And one of the reasons why he had such a good game could be because Villarreal didn't offer much in terms of the attack. See, Jordi Alba has always been very dangerous offensively, but where he has struggled in the past few years is his defense, where he can't come back to his own box fast enough to defend. So maybe his good match yesterday was due to the fact that Villarreal didn't really present much danger against Barcelona. Now, in the midfield, we saw Frenkie de Jong take the spot of Sergi Busquets in that pivot position, with Pedri and Gavi along his side. Now, I must say that Frenkie de Jong had an absolutely phenomenal match, probably one of the best, if not the best match that he's had with Barcelona since he arrived more than 3 years ago. And he did a really great job despite being in that pivot position, which is not his natural position. Now, Frenkie de Jong was solid defensively. He was able to intercept balls. He won every single duel. He made some really good runs forward. He was breaking through lines. He was combining well with his teammates, and he made some really good passes forward. And he was all over the field. He was on the right, on the left, up top, all the way in the back. He was just absolutely phenomenal, and he did this despite not being a natural pivot. Now, I always get comments from people saying that Frenkie de Jong should be Sergio Busquets' replacement, and I always have to remind them that Frenkie de Jong is not a pivot. See, a pivot's job is not only to dictate the tempo of the match with his passes, but his job is also to screen and provide cover for the defense. And Frenkie de Jong is a player who likes to make runs forward with the ball at his feet. He likes to dribble past players, and as a result, he tends to lose the ball, which is natural of players who like to dribble. and as a result, he cannot be a good pivot, because if a pivot loses a ball, he leaves his defense exposed, and we've seen that clearly against Real Madrid and Inter Milan, where Sergio Busquets lost the ball, and as a result, both teams were able to score goals in each of those matches. Now, despite this not being his natural position, Frankie de Jong still did a wonderful job, and if he can keep up this performance, then I believe that he could be a good alternative to Sergio Busquets. Now, in regards to Pedri and Gavi, there's really not much to say besides the fact that every time these guys play, they put on a masterclass, and they do such a good job that we have gotten accustomed to it, and we really don't talk about it. And yesterday was no different, except they did seem to be more involved in the attack, and both of them were able to touch the ball more and combine better with their teammates. And I think this has to do with Xavi's choice with the wingers. Now, Xavi elected to go with Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres in the wings, and both players are both Ferran and Ansu are wingers who like to cut inside and make inverted runs. So as a result, that leaves them a lot closer to Lewandowski and the two interiors, which are Pedri and Gavi, which in result they were all able to combine a lot more than previous matches, as opposed to Rafinha and Dembele, who are two wingers who like to stay out wide, which leaves them a little bit further away from the interiors and from Lewandowski. Now, I would really like to see in the future matches a combination of both type of wingers, with having one winger who likes to cut inside and another winger who likes to stay out wide. So maybe a combination of Ansu Fati and Rafinha, or Ansu Fati and Dembele, or maybe even Ferran Torres and Rafinha, or Ferran Torres and Dembele. Now, the attack was led by Robert Lewandowski, and there's really not much to say there besides the fact that the Polish striker is an absolute beast and a goal-scoring machine, and he scored two brilliant goals. The first one with an amazing control that left Villarreal's goalie and defenders on the floor, and the second goal with an incredible shot from the edge of the box that left Villarreal's goalkeeper with no chance to block in that shot. Now, during the second half, the match lost some of its intensity, and that was expected, because you can't keep up that high intensity that Barcelona were playing with during the first half all throughout the 90 minutes. And also, when you're able to resolve a match early on on the clock, that gives you the luxury of being able to lower the intensity during the second half, because you're not desperate to score goals or desperate to mount a comeback. Now, there was 5 substitutions in the second half, and I didn't quite understand all of them and didn't agree with a lot of them as either. And one of those substitutions were the substitution of Dembele and Rafinha, who came on for both Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati. Now, if Dembele and Rafinha are Xavi's starting wingers, then this could have been a good match for them to be rested, so they could be fresh for the next 2 upcoming matches. And since Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres have spent most of the season on the bench, this could have been a good match for them to play the entire 90 minutes, so they can get more playing time and they can get some rhythm. Now, Sergio Busquets also came on for Frankie de Jong during the second half, and even though Busquets is the best pivot that we currently have on the team, he, due to his age, he cannot play 90 minutes of every match. We've seen what happened when he does. Fatigue gets the best of him, and he becomes slow and starts making mistakes. So as a result, I would have loved to see him getting rested this entire match. However, Frankie de Jong did look tired towards the end because of all the running and all the ground that he covered. Now, Hector Bellerin came in for Sergio Roberto, and this was an understandable substitution, given that Sergio Roberto is another player who cannot play 90 minutes of every match, and given that Bellerin has just recovered from injury, so it was good to give him some minutes so he can begin to get some rhythm. Now, Gerard Piqué also came for Jules Koundé, and this was also an understandable substitution, given that Jules Koundé needs some rest ahead of the upcoming matches. Now, when Gerard Piqué came onto the field, he was booed and whistled by the fans, and I personally did not agree with this reception, because yes, Gerard Piqué is past his prime, and yes, Gerard Piqué needs to retire from Barcelona, and yes, Gerard Piqué has not been playing well as of late, and thanks to 2 of his mistakes, Inter Milan were able to score 2 goals in the Champions League. However, Gerard Piqué remains a Barcelona player, and more importantly, he's a Barcelona legend. He's a player who's given the club a lot, and he's a player who has won everything there is to win with Barcelona, and he's one of the best center backs that we've had at the club. And as such, the fans should not be booing a Barcelona player, let alone a Barcelona legend. Barcelona fans should stick together and support the club and the team, especially during these difficult times where Barcelona are having financial problems and where our team is still undergoing construction. And we already have enough enemies out there with a lot of people wishing that we fail and hoping that we fail. So we must stick together and we shouldn't be turning against our own team and our own club. Now, overall, the team had a very good performance and they seem to starting to recover some of their form prior to the international break. But despite this victory and despite the team's good performance, I'm still seeing a lack of mechanisms in place. Now take a look at Barcelona's first goal, where Pedri receives the ball and right away Jordi Alba makes a deep run on the left flank, and that prompts Ansu Fati to cut into the box, which allows Pedri then to pass the ball to Jordi Alba, who sends a cross out to Lewandowski, who's able to receive the ball with a little bit more freedom, given that Ansu Fati had made that run into the box and dragged some of the defenders away from Robert Lewandowski. Now these are kind of the mechanisms that we need in the team, where when a player gets the ball, all the other players know exactly where to run and where to go, which opens them up to passes and allows fast transition and triangulations to happen, which in turn create more chances and allow you to score goals. Now, not only do these mechanisms allow you to score goals, but they also allow you to unlock defenses, especially defenses of teams who like to park the bus and defend with a low block. And this is something that's really missing in Barcelona because besides the first goal, there really weren't any mechanisms there in the other goals. If you look at the second goal, it was all an individual effort by Robert Lewandowski, who made that shot from outside the box. And if you look at the third goal, it was also an individual effort by Ferran Torres, who made a successful run to the line and was able to send a pass to Ansu Fati, who was then able to tap it in. So these are the kind of mechanisms that Barcelona need to start employing more, which would allow them to start creating chances and allow them to unlock defenses, because after all, that's exactly what the tiki-taka style is. It's always hitting the open man and being able to run without the ball, which then allows the players to open up and allows the plays to flow and to fast transitions to happen. Tiki-taka is not about passing the ball from one side of the field to the other back and forth. It's about those fast transitions. It's about those mechanisms that Barcelona still need to develop. Now with this victory, Barcelona were able to collect 3 important points. However, they remain second on the table because Real Madrid won their own match with the same scoreline. So that is it for today's match review. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts about the match between Barcelona and Villarreal. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video, and as always, Visca Barça.